My name is Stacy Burrows. I'm Haematology's Operational Manager at Mersey, West Lancashire Teaching Hospitals NHS Trust. I've worked in the department for over 20 years and I manage the department across all 4 of our sites at Wiston, Southport, St Helens and Ormskirk.
Hi, I'm Sophie Greene. I'm a Haematology and Coagulation Senior Biomedical Scientist at Mersey and West Lancs.
So back in 2021, we started our procurement process to refresh all of our equipment across all sites. And it was due to age, but also to the fact that we wanted to improve the kit that we already had. We're a multi-site working laboratory, so we wanted to standardise equipment. We wanted to find efficiencies in workflow, reduce waste and cost. In the department, we had 3 different sets of kit across sites. So from a multi-site perspective, that was extra training, extra documentation that we wanted to try and remove. In terms of workflow, particularly at the hub site, we had to do a lot of manual handling of samples, so loading, unloading, constantly going back to the analyzers to check where samples were up to. Anything that needs to be reflexed for additional testing had to be reviewed in front of the analyzer. We wanted standardisation. We wanted improved quality and speed of turnaround time for our samples. We wanted to reduce the inefficiencies within the department, so the track solution was important to us. Health and safety wise, cap piercing, really important as well. And I suppose future-proofing the system too. So we wanted to be able to have the capacity to expand our testing and also repertoire if needs be, helping to reduce down samples that we need for our patients. If we can do more tests on one platform as well, it was important to us.
The biggest challenge for me was getting the team on board with the installation. So like me at the start, they were very apprehensive about the introduction of the track system and the sorter. They thought that the section would now be boring, they wouldn't have anything to do. But now, since installation, they've realised that there's a lot more free time. It's a lot less stressful to be on there. There's a lot less downtime, and they can just use their time more wisely, and just to improve patient experience through other means rather than just loading and unloading samples. Sysmex were on site during the validation and verification of the analyzers. So there was IQ, OQ, PQ, all performed by coag specialists. Whilst they were there, they gave some on-site training, just how they would perform in the validation to me. And they were also there for guidance about how I should perform the further validation of the machines.
In terms of installation, I think there was a really clear plan at the start on how we were going to continue to work and function as we were, whilst building the new solution at the same time, which helped because everyone knew where they were going and what they were doing. In terms of verification, the COAG team came in and verified from an operational qualification point of view all the systems with detailed reports of what was ran, which was all very useful for UCAS accreditation, so it ticked all the boxes in terms of what we needed. And then following on from that, when we were doing our own performance qualification, that support continued. If we needed help trying to find samples or resources to make sure that we can get our validation done, that was all available to us. So it was very thorough, and yes, we saw it through to the end. So when we were transitioning to the new track solution, Sysmex helped us by rejigging the lab, basically, to be able to continue to work as we were previously alongside the new system. So it was redesigned, so the CS has moved out the way and they had their new home, and then we introduced the track, which allowed us then to just work efficiently in terms of continuing to work and moving samples from one system to the next while we validate that system to use. So Sysmex helped us with the redesigning of the lab. In terms of standardisation, the CN software is very similar to our previous software, the CS, but also extremely similar to the XNs. It's really important for us to have familiarity throughout, particularly with multi-site working, so staff are more confident, they can use the kits, they don't need to think too much about what they're doing, which ultimately improves the quality of work that we do, and staff are less stressed when they're moving across site. Yeah, so gain switch technology has allowed us to be able to produce more results on patients who are slightly lipemic because the automated process of changing that wavelength allows the result to be produced. So it's great for quality in terms of getting those results out there where they're needed. Within our department, we use Actin-FS and Actin-FSL. And the benefits of this is that it allows a better sensitivity for patients who are looking for with bleeding disorders and differentiate between that and someone with lupus or an inhibitor of some sort. So it speeds up that diagnostic process for everyone involved. The maintenance is really, really simple, really easy to use. Very little downtime and very little impact on the staff member who's carrying out the maintenance. Really important because we do our maintenance overnight as well. So there's only one person there. So effectively they can walk away, press a couple of buttons and then walk back and it's finished. And that's what you want. You want something that's simple and easy to use. Yeah, the CN analyzers themselves are much smaller than the CS5100s. So obviously prior to installing the track, you're worried that it might take up an awful lot of space. Because the CNs were actually downsized, it's actually not made too much difference in terms of footprint. And we've also squeezed in the TS10 as well into there, so I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. I think it's because of the CN's smaller footprint that it's helped. So yeah, no, there was no issues installing the track. I think it's really useful to have the mixed ability to either front load or just load onto the track. And the fact that it does both at the same time works. So if we're doing specialist testing, it doesn't impact anything. The work can still go through and there's no delay in turnaround times because someone's front loading specialist tests, etc. So no, it works really well in combination. Yeah, from a reporting point of view and a UCAS expectation for completion of our records, if we've got issues or we've had an investigation carried out, the detail that COAG support go into is exactly what we expect and what we need for our paperwork. So it's really helpful to us to have that.
Okay, so the PMIs we don't really have to worry about until we're contacted. The onus is very much on Sysmex to book them for us. We're reminded that they're up and coming and we can pick a date that suits us.
I think they work as a team very well, so there's lots of communication. So it doesn't matter who you've spoken to about a problem, everybody knows about it and can pick it up. A really good level of detail in terms of response and turnaround times of those responses as well. If we have a query, it gets answered, so that's what we want. In terms of the engineers and service themselves, I can't really fault them really. They'll always go above and beyond to make sure that the kit is working and they'll deal with any problems that we have. So yeah, engineers get top marks from us. I think it's really important to have multiple ways to train the team before we moved to the new solution. So we had on-site training, which captures a lot of staff all at once and within the real environment so they can see it as what how they're going to use it. Specialist off-site training for the more advanced user as well is very detailed and gives them time to work with the product specialist one-on-one. Additionally, the hybrid training as well is really useful. So you get to play with the analyzers, but you don't necessarily have to travel off-site, which obviously then improves the amount of people that you can train to that level as well. Having the TS10 just allows for that automated process. So we wasted around 7 hours per week just loading and unloading a sample, which is kind of mad when you sit there and put that into context of what someone else could be doing at that time. It also highlights any samples that we need to do additional work on. So if we need to freeze down a sample for batch testing, or an urgent sample that we need to test, so a heparin has got to be turned around in a quick time frame. It highlights those to us, so we're going to reduce the amount of errors that we potentially have on samples that aren't dealt with quickly previously. But yeah, time back was a significant part of the track being introduced. You know, it gives the staff more time to do the job more effectively. It reduces stress on them. It reduces risk to the patients and errors, essentially. And they can get more training logs done as well, so they can do other things and other duties that they might to do in terms of CPD. Or they can be moved elsewhere, which is, you know, if another section's busy. So yeah, it's a time back is really important to us. Yeah, so with the added time that we've gained back from introducing the track, staff either are redistributed to different sections of the department to help out in those areas. They have less stress to do the jobs that they currently do, actually, so they can do the job more efficiently and safely. But also there's a lot more CPD and training and competency that staff now can achieve within the normal day, rather than just having to have separate times or struggle to fit it in. So yeah, there's lots more of the wish list things that you want to make sure are high priority, but you get more time now. So yeah, those 7 hours a week makes a difference.
Honestly. Honestly, I didn't think that the workload was large enough to have a track system and a sorter. But honestly, it's been the best thing we could have done.